Hi everyone, I'm Edith Wolek. I welcome today JulieAnn Pina, and she is a coach for business owners with cancer. Hello, JulieAnn.
Hi, Edith. Good to be here.
Fantastic to have you on here. And please tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do now?
Sure. Well, I am a business coach. I help business owners with staff on making the business run more smoothly. I come at that from having been a consulting CFO, and I seem to enjoy the computer systems more than a lot of people do. So I will help businesses create and integrate the systems that will let their business data, sort of the back end stuff that the customer doesn't see. I make sure all of that flows together nicely so that they can make good decisions about what the customer does see.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's always helpful to know what's going on in the background and the actual works behind the scenes that it will bring or attract customers. And if something goes wrong, then obviously you are helping figure things out on the back end.
Yeah.
Fabulous. What motivated you to start your own business?
Actually, I have been in business for myself for quite a long time, starting when my kids were small, and I wanted flexibility to be present for them, and yet also the opportunity to have really interesting, meaty work. So that was my solution to that. But more recently, what motivated me to kind of change the focus of the business is that 5 years ago now, I was finishing cancer treatment, and that that was like a 2x4 to the side of my business, as well as being pretty hard on my body. So I felt like I had to strengthen them both back up at the same time. And there wasn't one place to go. You know, I could get business advice or I could get health advice, but it seemed impossible to figure out how to do both of those things at once. So I ended up deciding that it was just too frustrating and complicated. And, it took me many, many months, probably years, to figure out a whole system for how a person would pull those things together in their own unique situation. And I just felt like, well, first it was for me, and then my friends, and then I started realizing, gosh, we're not the only people with cancer, and not the only business owners, and so there are just other challenges. So I still want the flexibility, even though my kids are, I've got one out and one close. And I need it for myself now too. I can't go 15 hours a day like I used to. So I thought, well, how can I use what I've learned to help other people as well as just not overloading myself? So now I'm coaching business owners with cancer, or sometimes, I have one client who has Lyme disease. I have a couple of physicians actually who don't really need my health coaching so much as they just want a system to follow, because they make so many decisions and they're so busy and their days are so full that they don't really want to take the time and mental effort to figure it out. They really want someone to say, here's a system.
Totally. And you had to overcome so many challenges in order to create your business. Tell us a little bit, and our audience, what steps have you taken to do that, to move away from, feeling, not feeling yourself, of course, because in the situation you were in. What steps have you taken to move yourself forward?
Well, I started off with just basic physical, finding out what worked and then building it into habits. So I have, and I'm not the sort who normally says, "Ooh, let me have a routine." But
I get it.
yeah, but this had me decide that it was worth trying. Let's have a routine, and it works really well. So I have a morning routine and an evening routine and things that I sprinkle through the day, and to sort of help my slightly rebellious streak that I have inside. The things that I sprinkle, I can move around and decide. But I have proven to myself that when I completely ignore my plans, it doesn't do well. I can really tell the difference. So so that was first, is just finding what worked and then building it into a system. And then a lot of stress reduction techniques have been really helpful for me, and just finding the ones that work in different situations. And with the business side, that kind of flowed right into the business side, because it feels like there's a million things to do and no time for taking care of myself and bringing my best self to my work. But of course, if you don't bring your best self, then the work doesn't turn out as well, and it's just, that doesn't work well either. So it pulled in the business side of, how do I keep the business healthy? How do I manage the business's stress? And how do I create systems? And the great thing is, on the business side, I can have somebody who works for me do some of the things. It's not like physical exercise where I can't just hire someone to go to the gym for me.
that one doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fabulous. Can you tell us a few tips on, you were talking to me before, and I also have created your editorial for Courage Magazine Global, about how you optimize the business's roadmap. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How people can improve and optimize their own business roadmap?
Sure. Well, what I've shared with you about what I did is pretty much the same signposts that you want to follow for yourself. The other thing I would say is to take little tiny steps and build up, and take the steps that are most effective in giving you back time and energy and just a sense of mental calm, because that frees up so much ability to tackle the next thing. So that can be as simple as, if you're not already doing it, have a water bottle by the side of your bed, so that when you wake up in the morning, you just drink some water. That will begin to relax and yet wake up your body immediately, and that'll pay off for you all day. So those kinds of things that have multiplied effect are really the place to start.
Beautiful. And what would you advise for our audience on how to set their goals for whether they are financial goals or business goals?
Yeah. It's having a reason for what you're doing, and how it helps other people besides just yourself. The fact that it helps you is good, because you can't pour from an empty cup. But if it also helps other people, that will help you to keep going in the moments when you're frustrated, or it will help you when you need to rest. It'll help remind you, okay, it's okay to rest. And some of those habits are and steps are around, and it's great to have 5-year goals, break it down into little steps so they're easy to do. But also it's good to have a roadmap. Not try to be working completely focused on 10 different goals all at the same time. Instead, give yourself some spacing and say, okay, right now I'm going to really push on this, and then I'm going to push on that. And having a plan for it actually will help your mind relax and not be, I don't know if yours does this to you, but mine will say, oh, but what about this? You haven't been working on this. And if the other side of the back of my mind can say, it's okay, that's coming next month or next week, or, that's what I do on Fridays. Having a system for knowing that you can work on all your goals, but not all in this exact minute.
No.
Just give yourself that space and peace. And that's, yeah, I think you asked about goal setting. I have a whole big thing about that.
Oh,
I tried to
go ahead.
just jam it into one little minute.
No, go ahead. You can tell me more about goal setting. Like, where do you start? Do you make a list of your goals for the next 3 months, or how do you organize your goals?
Yeah, so I start with what I want my life to look like 5 years from now. And then having some outlines of what would make that possible. What do I need to learn, or how do I need to grow, or what does the business need to move towards to make that possible? And then take a look at, I have a quarterly process that I do that actually came from Michael Hyatt. He has a book about it. You can look it up, where you go through the different areas of your life and dive in deeper and say, what do I need to be living like and being like in order to have the kind of relationship I want with my spouse, or with my other family members, or with people at work. And it goes through the whole gamut of life. And it takes a good while. It took a good while the first time, but when you go back and just update it, it's not quite so consuming of a project. And the funny thing is that, even if you only look at that once a month, once a week is better, but it doesn't really happen every week, at least for me. But just knowing it's there, and having that in the back of my mind really helps make other kinds of decisions. So then knowing who I'm trying to be and how I'm trying to be, and what needs to come on board to make those things possible. I will set quarterly goals of, these are the 3 things that I'm going to work on out of that whole project list. And then just, if I have ideas in the meantime for others, I just capture them, but don't try to focus on them until it's their turn. And then go from there to monthly and weekly and even daily. And I have somebody who I exchange text messages with where I say, here are the 3 big things I'm going to try to do tomorrow. And I do that. I choose those things by looking at what am I really trying to accomplish this week as a part of what I'm trying to accomplish this month. So breaking it into little teeny things, but also having a specific focus instead of the whole 100 things on the to-do list.
That's amazing. And having the accountability partner, somebody that you are giving your goals, or like it's just little thing, like little, I don't know, here, that's what I am committed to do for the next week. And even that text message, it puts something in your mind, and it's just makes it permanent. So you must do them. Otherwise, your accountability partner won't be so nice. But
we don't push, we don't needle each other too much.
No.
But just for me, it's the biggest thing is the process of writing down, picking something to write down.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, towards the end of the day after dinner, I'll have a look and see how did I do. And, usually I've made good progress, but sometimes I spot, I could really, take the next even just 20 minutes to move that to the place where I can say, I got 2 out of 3 today, not just 1.
Oh, well done, me.
And I really like being able to say that. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. Might have to apply those to my goals. I will take a note of those. Yes. So around, I'm not. I have to check the timing, but I think you have some suggestions around like how can they improve their business, how can our audience apply some of those tips in their business going forward.
Yeah, for sure. There are quite a few tips. I've talked already about kind of knowing yourself and what works for you. It's also worth putting a little thought into your staff and what their strengths are, and what brings out their best. So your system needs to work overall, but and it can't just cater to too many different things. But if you take into consideration what strengths you already have, even in just how you ask people to work on things, let them, where possible, do the things that they enjoy more, that energizes them more. Sometimes we just have to do what we have to do, but try where possible to see where, one person might really like to eat that frog first thing in the morning so it's out of the way, and another person might be better off building up energy and saying, okay, I'm going to do one short thing that I don't care for so much, and then that buys me a half hour of doing something that I feel like really proud of myself for, and that gives me the energy to take on one more piece of something that just drains energy. So allowing them to take into account what works for them, even though the overall picture still needs to happen more or less the way it needs to happen. And then when you introduce new systems or new processes or those kinds of things, chatting with them first and knowing what, if they know why And if they have the ability to speak a little bit about how will make it more effective for them, if you have good people, you can trust them to want to do it in a way that's going to make a bigger difference for the business. They'll feel proud of themselves. And that, of course, helps your business too.
Mm.
So, and then, we each have a different level of tolerance for change. Some people need to do it in itty bitty steps, and other people like taking on a bigger chunk, but don't overwhelm yourself or them. Do make those changes a bit at a time. And let's see what else. Back at the beginning of all of it, and then occasionally as you go through time, do take the time to do a great big brain dump of all the things you're thinking of, all the possible goals, all the to-do list items, and don't edit it at all. Get all of it out of your head, because then the back of your mind will know that you have it and will stop nagging you. Remember me, and remember me, and remember me, all those ideas, right? And then when you have it on paper, you can start to organize it a little bit, and separate out into, this would be a good task for this person on my staff. This would be a good task for me to, hire a gardener at home. This would be, those kinds of things. And just, as you start to see what feels like an immense to-do list and realize that, okay, this is a little more manageable. And then even with that, put it into some kind of priority. Warren Buffett actually has a method where he says, write down 25 goals that you want to do over the course of the next long time, maybe 20 years. And then pick 5 that are the most important right now and circle them and only work on those until they start getting done. And then here's an addition for me. Sometimes things change and something that was on your goal list just isn't anymore. And, that's okay. So you can change what the list is, but you still just need to have a focus. And you'll find that relieves so much stress that things start happening a lot faster. And when you see that, not only will you feel pleased, but it'll also give you more trust that it's really okay to focus now, and you'll have a chance. You'll get to the other things just because you're not doing it today. It's still okay.
Wow. Thank you so much for those final tips of advice to our audience. And sure. It was a pleasure to have you on and telling our audience all these beautiful golden nuggets of
thank you
of your knowledge. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, it was great to be here, and I'm looking forward to watching the other folks too. This is a really exciting project. I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.